Incredible. Nia able to stop Rousey from locking in the armbar and drove the challenger down.
Oh, look at Ronda Rousey.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. Professional wrestlers in WWE are the best at what they do. Sometimes. Even the best of the best occasionally make mistakes, which leads to some unintentionally funny moments. Let's check out some of those. I'm D Wicket, and here's 10 hilarious WWE botches that they don't want you to see. Number 10, Rey Mysterio 619's MVP. Or does he? The Royal Rumble often has a number of in-ring returns taking place, with the legends of the business even making a one-off appearance just for the heck of it. At this year's Royal Rumble, MVP made his return to in-ring action for WWE after leaving the promotion back in 2010. His return was brief, with him quickly being dumped out of the ring by an irate Brock Lesnar, but it was still pretty cool to see him back in the promotion. The next night on Raw, he took on the master of the 619, Rey Mysterio, in a singles match. While the match itself was okay, people only talk about this hilariously botched finish that did a massive disservice to two of WWE's most storied performers. In the final sequence of the match, Mysterio set MVP up for the 619, but there was clearly a miscommunication between the two superstars. MVP got up instead of staying in position on the second rope, which resulted in Mysterio pretty much missing the move and just touching MVP in the back, so he sold the move anyway. But it didn't end there, with Mysterio hitting MVP with a splash on the back before flipping him over and picking up the pinfall victory. Mysterio seemed shocked and even asked the referee if it was a 2 count or not. The entire sequence was a complete disaster, in addition to being absolutely hilarious.
Ready for this?
Here we go.
No, look. Oh! Got him in the back. Got him in the back.
MVP, and he got enough of it. MVP is down.
Number 9, Montez Ford's hype gets the better of him. The Street Profits are one of the most energetic tag teams in the history, probably, of all of WWE, with Montez Ford in particular. Already well known for being the team's hype man since being called up to Raw, Ford has made a habit of dancing with babies, shaking the ropes like the Ultimate Warrior, and randomly screeching stuff at the camera with a crazy look in his eye. On the March 30th episode of Monday Night Raw, the Street Profits, along with Kevin Owens, took on the team of Angel Garza, Austin Theory, and Seth freaking Rollins in a 6-man tag team matchup. As is the case with pretty much every tag team match, it was only a matter of time before all hell broke loose. With everyone pretty much out of commission, Ford got to his knees in the ring, looked at the camera, thumped his chest, and yelled, "WrestleMania!" before hitting Austin Theory with a massive splash outside the ring. But, there was obviously some slight miscommunication, and Ford completely missed Austin Theory, instead of landing back first on the ramp with a resounding thud.
How can he not be fired up with Montez? Look out! Oh, gosh! God!
Number 8. Cesaro has a little bit of trouble getting out of the ring. WWE Crown Jewel, which took place on October 31st last year, was one of WWE's biggest shows, unfortunately, of the year. Despite all public negativity, it doesn't seem like WWE's getting out of this deal with Saudi Arabia. To appease the people pumping millions of dollars into the promotion, WWE usually has a number of legends make an appearance at these events, though it rarely works out. In addition to pretty much every 50-year-old wrestling at the event, WWE also dusts off Mansoor and has him take on one of the promotion's workhorses at the event. The Saudi Arabian wrestler certainly has a fair amount of potential, but he is still pretty green in the ring. So it makes sense that over the last couple of years, WWE has paired him against the likes of Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro. At Crown Jewel last year, Mansoor predictably defeated Cesaro at the event, and while the match itself was pretty good, it was most fondly remembered from a pretty funny Cesaro botch. Halfway through the match, Mansoor hit the Swiss Cyborg with a dropkick to knock him out of the ring, but Cesaro got caught up in the ropes and ended up just sort of bouncing back and forth for a couple of seconds before he eventually found his way to the outside.
Up over the top, Cesaro rolls through, drop kick by Mansoor, and Cesaro hung up in the ropes and bounces to the outside.
Number 7, Paul Heyman drops his client's briefcase. WWE has dropped the ball with the winner of the men's Money in the Bank briefcase winner over the last few years. Back in 2017, Baron Corbin won, and he failed to cash in his briefcase successfully, just like Braun Strowman the next year. Then in 2019, Brock Lesnar, of all people, came out of absolutely nowhere to win the briefcase, even though he was one of the most protected stars in the company and not in the match. Over the next few months, he repeatedly teased a cash-in on Universal Champion Seth Rollins, whose 2019 Super Showdown opened with Seth Rollins defending his championship against Baron Corbin. After picking up a hard-fought victory, Corbin laid out the champion with an end of days, which brought the Beast out. With a cash-in just seconds away, Paul Heyman, of all people, tripped on the rope as he entered the ring, dropping the briefcase in the process. This distracted Lesnar, which allowed Rollins to hit him with a low blow, attack him with a steel chair, and lay him out with a stomp. The contract was never cashed in because of Heyman's little tumble, with WWE proving that it would go to any lengths to tease a cash-in, but not actually have it happen.
Brock Lesnar could not pick a more opportune time. Universal.
Oh my God, Heyman just...
Heyman's so excited he
tripped up. Oh! Blow by Rollins.
Number 6. The King comes falling down. Baron Corbin's entire King of the Ring gimmick has really overstayed its welcome, but back in October, he was still one of the hottest heels in the company. During a match on an episode of Raw in October, Randy Orton was joined by King Corbin at the top of the ramp. Corbin, who is obviously wrestling royalty, was seated in a throne with the Viper standing next to him. Corbin's throne, which should have been forged from the purest of gold, actually fell apart during a commercial break. Credit to Corbin, he stayed in character the entire time and went and spoke to Jerry the King Lawler at the announce table while Orton cracked up in the background. It was an absolutely hilarious moment which took place during a commercial break, but luckily, audience members were on hand to record the moment for our reviewing pleasure. Number 5, the Devil's favorite demon loses his mask. The Brothers of Destruction reunited to take on DX at Crown Jewel in 2018. The match was a big deal because it marked Shawn Michaels' first match since retiring at WrestleMania 26. It was also a bad deal because Shawn Michaels was coming out of retirement since WrestleMania 26. For years, fans thought the Heartbreak Kid would be one of the few wrestlers who actually stayed retired, but that fat paycheck just comes along with performing at Saudi Arabia was too enticing to pass up on. The match itself was a botch-filled disaster. Not only did Taker and Kane look completely out of shape, but Triple H also tore his pec during the match, and Shawn Michaels just narrowly escaped breaking his neck after a botch dive to the outside of the ring. One of the most memorable moments of the match had Michaels and Kane both on the top of the turnbuckle. Michaels was hitting Kane with multiple strikes to the face, but one errant punch saw him accidentally yank off Kane's mask and wig. Kane immediately fell to the floor clutching his face, while commentators claimed that Michaels literally punched the mask off of Kane's head. Sort of.
Right to the ribs. And now Kane. Shawn Michaels hit Kane so hard that...
Number 4, Black Mass misses by a mile. Aleister Black took on Lars Sullivan in a sort of hard-hitting match for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver Chicago 2. Even though Black was one of the most intimidating strikers on the Gold and Black brand, it looked like the Freak had the advantage thanks to his sheer size and power. However, Black managed to defend his title in what was a pretty good match, except for one glaring botch. Sullivan turned his back to Black as the champion whipped out a Black Mass, which caused him to completely miss the kick. Regardless, the Freak sold the move about 5 seconds too late and fell to the canvas, with Black getting a 2 count.
Give Aleister Black. And Black Mass cover to retain, and Lars Sullivan kicked out.
Number 3, the most confused man on earth. The almighty Bobby Lashley accidentally became famous on the internet when he started doing the rounds as the most confused man on planet Earth. People began posting videos of Lashley seemingly extremely confused in the ring. One of the most hilarious examples of this saw Lashley unable to understand what his teammates Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin needed him to do. With McIntyre holding Kurt Angle in place and Corbin with the steel steps set up, Lashley just walked between both men as they pointed to each other, telling the big man what to do. It took Lashley almost 30 seconds to figure out what he needed to do before the trio drove Angle into the steps.
Corbin's got the steel ring stairs all lined up.
It's like next level brutality.
Number 2, Jinder Mahal gets taken down by a phantom whisper in the wind. Jeff Hardy defended his United States Championship against Jinder Mahal at the Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018. Mahal managed to pull off one of WWE's most memorable botches in a 6-minute match. That is true talent. Hardy climbed to the top rope and attempted to hit Mahal with a whisper in the wind. However, he failed to make contact and landed flat on the canvas. Mahal, though, the absolute legend that he is, sold the move, despite being about a foot away from Jeff Hardy. To make matters worse, Hardy actually went for the cover instead of doing damage control. This easily could have been the biggest botch of the night had it not been for Titus O'Neil's epic slide under the ring.
Already powering through, going up top.
And a whisper in the wind, nobody home.
I don't think Jeff Hardy connected at all.
And number 1, Ronda Rousey takes a tumble. Ronda Rousey had a dominant run as the Raw Women's Champion before eventually losing the gold to Becky Lynch in the main event of WrestleMania 35. The baddest woman on the planet defended her title against Nia Jax at Money in the Bank 2018 in what was one of the toughest title defenses of her reign. About 3 minutes in, Rousey tries to lock Jax in an armbar, but the irresistible force powered out of the move by lifting Rousey up and slamming her to the canvas. Rousey somehow makes it to her feet before her opponent, but loses her balance and stumbles out of the ring through the ropes. It was unclear if Rousey was just selling the impact of being slammed to the mat or if it was a botch. Fans seemed confused, and commentators didn't know what to make of the entire situation either.
Incredible. Nia able to stop Rousey from locking in the armbar and drove the challenger down.
Oh, look at Ronda Rousey.
And those are 10 hilarious botches that the WWE doesn't want you to see. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. To like the video, subscribe to the channel, and notifications, ring that bell.
Thank you.